Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's edition of the Tees Valley Sport Podcast. This week we have episode 2 in our mini-series looking around mental health, and this week I'm joined by Andrew Poinen. Andrew works for Kooth. Kooth are an organisation who work to support children's mental health. They offer support online. It's a safe and anonymous service that children can access over the internet via a phone, tablet or a laptop. It's a great catch up with him. We discuss around mental health, around how the last year has impacted children, talks about some scary stats around how many people have actually accessed Kooth this year. And then we also hear a little bit about Qwell. And Qwell is actually a service that supports teachers in further education, primary schools and secondary schools. And it's just such a really good episode. It's great hearing about his story, a little bit more about Kooth. And it's just a bit eye-opening, really. It's just really interesting listening to him talk around the mental health side of things. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, and thanks for watching.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for joining. Can you just introduce yourself and your background in sport plus activity, please?
So my name's Andrew, and I'm Kooth Engagement Lead for Kooth PLC. So, my background with sport and physical education, did you say?
Physical activity.
Physical activity, that's the one. I was casting my mind back to school there. So I was having flashbacks. So I'm not the most sporty person growing up and at school and things. Kind of avoided sport, which is quite funny. But recently, kind of fallen back into love with it a little bit. With obviously the lockdown, the pandemic forcing certain things. So I started coaching. So I recently coached for Darlington RA under sixes, which is really interesting. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. And then I've recently, just started running to improve my wellbeing. Used to play a little bit of rugby and things. But the coaching is something that I've really, really enjoyed because I'm not the best footballer, let's say, but really kind of submerged myself into listening to podcasts, watching loads of YouTube videos, hopefully going to be doing some FA level 1 and just learning loads about the coaching aspect and watching Pep and all them trying to
emulate Pep. Is that what your ambition now is to
I'll get that far, but definitely. So have the next Messi with me at the Darlington RAs. So we've got some good little players actually. It's really, really refreshing. So it's under sixes that we coach at the minute. So it's like a development squad. And just to see, so we started in August, and to see how far a lot of them have come from August until now. And then obviously we stopped in November with the second lockdown or third lockdown. I've lost count, but we started again.
I've lost count completely now. It's been too many.
Isn't it funny how we reference lockdown 1 and lockdown 2 and 3? But
I keep doing that. I keep talking about what do you do in lockdown 1, and then was that lockdown 2? Is it lockdown 3? You just forget, don't you? It kind of all's rolled into one. It's been a strange old year and a bit.
Lockdown 1 was my favourite. Definitely, it was. It was completely different to it being in winter. I remember during it, saying this would be horrendous in winter time, not expecting it to be so long.
I think everyone's the same. It was the summer, and you could go out after work. You'd go out in the garden after work. You'd go for walks, and everyone's like, "Oh, in the winter this will be absolutely horrendous." And then we've had to go through it all, and it's like, oh, well, that's how horrendous it was going to be. But definitely, I think lockdown 1 for me, I'm the same as you. It was nice to get outside for a walk on an evening after work, and lunchtime in the garden and that type of thing was definitely the one for me.
Yeah, going out clapping for the NHS and stuff, and everyone, it was a good vibe. Got to meet your neighbours, and it was a good.
Well, a memory came up on my Facebook the other day, and it was this time last year. It was actually the weekend just gone, and it was the outdoor VE day parties that we had. We had one on our street last year, and it was absolute boiling hot sunshine. And then the weekend just gone, I got my cricket game called off because it was pouring down with rain. I'm thinking, can we not go back a year?
Yeah, it was snowing and stuff, wasn't it? Yeah.
So you've come on today to talk about Kooth. And you're going to give people a bit of background in Kooth, a little bit of information, because I'm sure a lot of people won't have heard of Kooth. I know I personally hadn't heard of Kooth until I got involved a little bit through work. So for those that aren't sure what Kooth is, what is it and what is your role at Kooth?
Yeah, so my role is to basically promote the service of Kooth. So that could be via schools, colleges, other kind of groups, sports coaching groups, youth work groups, again, just promote it so I can promote that to professionals and young people as well. So Kooth is a free online service that offers emotional and mental health support for young people. So that's aged 11 to 18 in the Tees Valley area. And it's funded by Cumbria, Northumberland, Tyne and Wear NHS Foundation. So it's funded through different kind of NHS foundations. It's been going for it's been going since 2001. And it was invented in Stockport by a lady called Elaine Bowersfield, who wanted to create a service that would help, young people access online digital mental health service. Young people who were seldomly heard or, fly under the radar a little bit, might not access face-to-face services. So that's why it was kind of invented. So again, 2001, so it's been going a long time. Basically, Elaine was a social worker, went to Stockport local council, asked for some money, some funding, got given a little bit of money. It started in Elaine's kitchen, and then now it's the biggest mental health organisation online in the country. And I think the fact that we're back in our houses, back in the kitchens as well, is nice. is a nice full circle. So
what a journey that is. Start from a kitchen now, one of the largest platforms in England. That is some journey, isn't it? Incredible.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine Elaine didn't envisage it kind of to be as large as it is. We're commissioned in about 85-95% of the country, and we've just gone live in Wales as well. So yeah, it's massive. We've got full coverage in all of the Northeast. So as a Darlow lad, I'm proud to know that we've got, coverage in the Northeast as well. So it's really, really nice that we've got full access for young people. Again, that's aged 11 to 18. So it's the month of the 11th birthday all the way up until the day before their 19th birthday. And yeah, so it's a website.
It's
go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great that there's a place for that age group to feel safe and feel that they can talk, isn't it? And they can potentially, if they've got an issue at their age, I'm guessing some children might not know how to talk about it. They might not feel comfortable talking to parents. So having yourselves there, I'm guessing is, it must be a real shine light, and it must be a real nice thing for a lot of children to have.
Yeah, definitely. I think with everything being online, so again, it's a website, Kooth.com. All of our support services are all online. So again, with the global pandemic, everything is online. So there's the online community. We've got like Kooth magazine articles that young people can access again to get the support. There's online counselling if they want. There's peer-to-peer support. There's loads of different things. So it's a really quick sign-up process, and we don't take like personal information, so it's really nice for young people just to be able to jump on our website. Again, with it being free, safe and anonymous, our young people are encouraged to pick a username which will make them completely anonymous. So again, there might be stigma around mental health or accessing mental health services, so we ask them to pick no social media tags, no social media names, no gamer tags, nothing that will make them identifiable. And that's the absolute beauty of it. I used to work for a local mental health charity who used to signpost young people over. And again, my background is mental health, youth work, used to work for National Citizen Service. So a lot of the experience I've had is, seeing what kind of impact mental health has on young people. And I'm currently doing a mental health first aid course. And if you think, everyone does a first aid course, first aid at work and stuff, probably not in your line of work, but in other people, it's very rare that you actually have to perform first aid. But with mental health, everyone has mental health. There's always somebody, you find someone, young person you're working with might have anxieties, or they might have a panic attack, and you're always dealing with it. So I think, more people should be doing mental health first aid, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. As I say, it's one of the podcast that we actually released this week. One of the things that Matt said was that, people have physical health and people have mental health. And I think a lot of people forget that side of things. They see the physical health and they see, let's get out, let's go run, let's go and get fitter, let's go and get more active. But they forget that, that children, adults have this mental health as well. That I feel like from my discussion of the past year, and I'm sure I'm going to ask you about what you felt this past year, but for me, I just feel like mental health has come more to the forefront than ever. I think people have been more engaged to talk about it. I think more discussion has been had, around the offices. Well, I say the offices, the virtual offices, in friendship groups. I feel like that's something that, a lot more people seem to be more willing to discuss. And I don't know whether you feel the same.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely agree with that. I think everyone's been forced into taking care of the mental health a little bit and looking at it, and which is a good thing, I suppose. Unfortunately, it's had to take a global pandemic for it to get to this point. But I know I read an article recently, and it said mental health issues are going to be the next pandemic. I can't say that word, the next pandemic. So yeah, it's really interesting. I know for myself, I started running again, just literally to improve my well-being. I've not run for a long time. School used to do everything to avoid long distance running, and now I wish I took it a little bit more serious because I'm not bad at it as well. Did the Great North Run about 5 or 6 years ago, and now I started doing the Couch to 5K, which is amazing. Really great app. I've heard loads of people, mention it and say, oh, you should try this, it's really good. And it actually is. I'm on week 9 at the minute, and I'm going to be starting running half an hour without stopping. Again, I've run the Great North Run, so I can't understand how I find it hard again, but a little bit older at the minute.
I think it's as well when you stop doing something to then suddenly pick things back up again. I mean, I'm a K1. I love working out at the gym. I play loads of sport, but obviously, with the lockdowns, the gyms have been closed, and for me, getting back into the gym again. I remember going back in my first session after I'd been struck for ages, and I went back in and I was going the weights, and I was like, I used to be able to lift more than this, and I'm struggling to like even lift dumbbells off the weight rack. And now it's like, you've been back up in a few weeks and you get back into the swing of things again. But it's absolutely incredible how quickly your body can forget. And you forget how we used to do things, and you're getting aches that you didn't used to get, and it's getting harder to lift things, it's getting harder, as you say, harder to run again. And it is that lockdown has given people I've known a lot of my friends have started running. I know a few have done Couch to 5K. I think it's great people have found physical fitness as a way to keep going over the lockdown, and it's been great, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was funny the other day. I was going for a run, and I was just running in Darlington, and I looked up and I seen one of my friends drive past, and I just remembered when we used to do the cross country at school. He used to be last and I used to be second last, so it was quite nice seeing him. He was driving past, he wasn't running, but yeah, it was nice to see him, as well. Like, bring back memories of cross country.
Absolutely, I'm sure that was a nice little child memory there for you. One that
yeah,
maybe not quite the fun moments of being last and second last, but
no.
I'm sure it was a nice little cheer, a little chuckle to yourself on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I bet he just looked up and thought, I'd never think I'd see Andrew running. He'd probably rub his eyes, like, what's going on? You weren't that good at school.
Definitely.
I think my children are going to make an appearance in a minute as well. So,
we'll get them on. They come and have a chat with us.
Yeah. Well, I coach one of them as well. So I coach Rudy at the minute. And then I moved over to a different age group, and then he won the Player of the Week. So he's really proud of that. And then my little one just started playing football as well. So he's at Diddy Kicks. He's only 2, but
oh wow.
He's called Xavi, so a lot of people think he's named after the footballer. So he's got no pressure at all as well. But he's actually really good. Yeah, they're coming now. They've got the Darlow kits on for them.
Oh, nice. So I guess going back to the Kooth, have you seen this past year? Has it had a spike in amount of children accessing the facilities and services?
Yeah, so in 2020, so we actually had about over 1 million people log into our service. So again, that's up and down the country. We had a lot of people view our articles. So I've just got some stats here. So we had about 1.7 million people accessing our articles, our magazine articles. Wow. We had over 1,000 people access our live forums to take part in our discussion boards as well. With our chat facilities, we had 75,000 people access our chat facilities with over 42,000 hours of chat, which usually it's an hour of chat a week as well. So if you can imagine how many people have accessed our services, it's quite a lot. We have a messaging service where people can, if they again just want a little bit more support, they can reach out. And again, we've had over 653,000 people message our facilities. So yeah, it's really, really mind blowing.
That's incredible, and is that just a year then? Those stats, is that just the year?
That was just for last year. So for January till December. So again, I haven't got the stats to hand for this year, but again, as you can imagine, I have been quite busy. This morning I was doing a presentation to a full school in Darlington as well. Again, as part of mental health week. So yeah, you can hear the little ones kicking off.
Yeah, I can hear they've just got in, haven't they? They're obviously excited.
Everyone have lunch.
Yeah, no, it's as I say, it's really interesting. It's something that, as I say, I think it has taken the global pandemic for it to really become part of people's kind of focus and people's day-to-day life. And I think it's something that I think for me personally, I've not come from a background of any kind of mental health experience, mental health expertise, but I feel like in anyone's job now, it's going to be something that people are going to be discussing, people are going to be talking about. And, you know, I never thought I would be sat here in my work, in my home office, talking to a mental health professional that's going to go on a podcast. And, you know, for someone like myself whose background is in sport, physical activity, you know, to see this mental health side now even coming into our roles and our day-to-day jobs, it's incredible, really. And are you seeing that as well? Is that something you're seeing, that are more people engaging with yourselves talking about it?
Yeah, definitely. So I think again, I think we've been forced with the pandemic to have these conversations, to open up. I recently did a like a Facebook Live and a recording for working with young people and adults in the BAME community as well. So that was really good to have those conversations. And again, you know, before the pandemic, would we have been invited to have these conversations as well? I think with having conversations with sports and, you know, having conversations with coaches and things, and looking at having the like for me, I'm really passionate about, I've got like 2 boys, and really passionate about male mental health, and specifically mental health in the Black community and BAME communities as well. So again, something that I'm really passionate about, coming from that background as well. So yeah, I think definitely having these conversations helps. I think having the national kind of week, so obviously this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. I know in February we had Children's and Young People Mental Health Awareness Day and Week and stuff as well, so that was quite good. And I think what I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but on social media, my personal social media and everything, you're seeing people having conversations about mental well-being, about mental health. It's starting to talk again. Males don't speak about it, so again, having, you know, and that's a whole nother podcast we can have on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you know, there's TV programs, that documentary, I don't know if you saw it, with the young lad Roman Kemp about male suicide.
I missed that. I've heard so many people talk about it, and it's something that I do need to go back and watch it. But even that type of a thing there, you know, someone a big name talking about it, is something that's, you know, it brought it to the line, didn't it? It brought it to the limelight again. It's things like that which are really, really important things to happen on TV.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the main thing about that is checking up on your friends, and not just checking up on your friend who you might think might have mental health issue, or, you know, might be, you know, not be coping a little bit. Checking on the friend who presents as okay and fine and everything. That's the one you need to be checking up on, because again, I don't have the stats for male suicide to hand, but yeah, they're really frightening, especially in a certain age group. It's the biggest killer. So yeah, it's really, really scary. I went off a tangent a little bit, but yeah, it's really, so I think for me, you know, just being able to have these conversations. I know, again, focusing on young males, we've just set up a partnership work with the Durham FA, so a lot of work has gone in the background with that, and we're looking at rolling out some presentations to all wellbeing officers and safeguarding leads as well. So yeah, really, really good piece of work that I'm really excited and
so
proud to be.
has that type of a relationship formed this past year then? Is that something that's always been in the pipeline, or do you think that that's something that's happened through the pandemic? Do you reckon that it's, you know, it's getting these NGBs, it's getting these big, like, you know, the FA is a massive organisation. Do you think it's taken this pandemic for them to realise, you know, we need to do something about this? Or is that something that's always kind of been waiting to happen? It's just so happened that the limelight's great to come onto that now through the pandemic. What's that look like?
I think during the pandemic, I think, and again, you know, for yourself, I know you mentioned about the cricket and stuff, and obviously a lot of things have been taken away from people. So for me, I use coaching as a tool to, you know, just forget about things, be a bit mindful, you know, learn a new skill, immerse myself in it. And that was like, I found that as quite a good coping mechanism, again, to help with my own mental well-being. And obviously with that being taken away, a lot of coaches have felt the same, you know, they don't have those elements. Even you touched upon it before, you know, about the gym, that was your coping strategy where it's been taken away. So again, everyone's being forced in. As far as I'm aware, a lot of these partnerships have been formed kind of during the pandemic, and I think it's a little bit easier to be able to build relationships up, you know, jump on Zoom, have meetings and things. And I know there's a few kind of, for example, with the FA, there is a few that we've started recently, but I know it's something that there. I know that they do have their own internal ones, but something that has been highlighted, especially when young people, I was listening to a podcast by the FA, I'm a bit of a geek, but I was listening to a podcast by the FA, and it was literally the start when clubs were starting to open and stuff. And one of their main concerns was the mental health and mental well-being of the young people, being anxious about going back. You know, they might not have taken part in any activities from November, December till I think it was April we started again. So yeah, I know there was,
yeah.
so there was a lot of, you know, worries about that as well, about how the young people would cope as well. And again, you know, going back and not feeling safe potentially again. So there was, yeah, loads of things, but I definitely think this pandemic has forced people a little bit. And what, again, me personally, hopefully I would like to carry on and keep with the running. You know, I've not just done it just for this time. I did used to do Joe Wicks at the beginning and then I stopped. So yeah, I literally just do activity just to improve my well-being. I don't want to be a hypocrite, come on, tell people that they should be doing A, B and C and not do it again. And it really does help. Like, you know, you just think it's a myth, or do exercise, it helps with your well-being. But like I said, you know, with the coaching, I've made loads of friends from it. Some of the other coaches, made some really good friends, learned about it. So yeah, there's so many positives. You think of something as just a one aspect, you know, I'm going out helping the young people, but there's so many things, so many positives you get out of it as well. Do you do coaching at cricket then, or do you just play?
Used to, I don't anymore. Just to play inside of it now. I do loads of coaching through my job, and I love it. I love seeing the kids getting back to things, and you know, it's great seeing the kids getting back doing sport again. And you know, as I say, I'm a firm believer that, you know, mental health's a massive one, but I feel like the physical health as well. It's a huge, like, it kind of comes hand in hand for me. And you know, if these children are getting back out again, running and being with their mates, and it's just kids being kids again. You know, it's kids in schools doing sport again. It's kids out of school doing sport again. As I say, you know, it's just been fantastic to see it again. It's great seeing these kids. You know, one of the things which I've been saying to the schools that I'm working at the minute is, I don't want to go in there and do, you know, athletics. I don't want to go and do cricket. I don't want to go to football. I want to do everything, and I want these kids just to be able to be children and be able to run about and be daft and being in their little bubbles still in the classes which I'm working in bubbles all the time. And you know, I just want these kids to enjoy the time with their friends, because they've missed that. You know, the kids have missed a year, pretty much a year of their life, of not seeing their friends that much and not being able to do sports activity much. And as much an advocate I am of that, the mental health side of things and how much it can affect them mentally, you know, not having that physical health and that physical activity, I feel like it's a massive knock on. And I do feel that they are starting to come much more hand in hand.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they kind of do come hand in hand as well. And I think it's really important. Like, I went to quite a sporty school when I was younger, and you know, if you weren't the best at that sport, then you were kind of overlooked a little bit, and it put a lot of pressure on you, I suppose. And you know, I used to like play for the B teams, and it was good. I used to enjoy it and things, but again, so you just did it because you had to, rather than because I enjoyed it. I wish I did take, you know, like I mentioned, the running a little bit more seriously, or take things a little bit more seriously, because it wasn't really fun. You know, it was just, you know, it was like a lot of pressure on you. I feel like this is counselling. But yeah, it feels, you know, and with my young people, with the under sixes, like I said, I'm not the best footballer, but it's just literally running around, being daft, being silly, giving them the arrow balls at the end. That's which is my job, and they absolutely love it. And they come back, and we're getting good numbers. So it's all you can ask for, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I'm guessing, going back to Kooth then,
Yeah.
obviously, you know, you do things virtual anyway. So I'm presuming that your work won't really have been overly impacted. I don't know what, in terms of face-to-face, do you do much face-to-face, or is it a case of, you know, your work is just probably, as if anything, it's just kind of got more work due to the extra children wanting to get your services? How's that looked?
Yeah, so around the Tees Valley and around this area in the northeast, we don't have any face-to-face services for Kooth. So in some of the areas we do face-to-face counselling, but around here we don't. So everything is online, everything's virtual. So yeah, kind of last year with the traditional means of support that were closed, it restricted a lot of young people. But again, it's clear, you know, that digital has a vital role to play in supporting mental health and well-being. And like you say, like we are an online service, so everything is text-based or via Kooth.com as well. So yeah, it's really simple. As you can imagine, as I mentioned, some of the stats and stuff and the amount of young people, like we had a million people log in. We've had to get extra kind of staff to work behind the scenes. So we've had extra emotional wellbeing workers, practitioners, extra counsellors as well, just because we've seen that massive demand for our service. So our counselling, so if the young person wants to chat to our team, again, that's available 12 noon Monday to Friday till 10 o'clock at night. And then again, that's available on the weekends, 6 till 10 o'clock at night. So there's that out of hours support as well. So, it's available on evenings and weekends. And we also available 365 days of the year for the counselling. So if a young person wanting to access counselling on Christmas Day, we've got support. Again, the timeframes do differ a little bit. The reason why I mentioned the timeframes is because during the pandemic, obviously with the schools closing down and shut down, we were really busy during the day, where usually it's 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, where we were a lot more busy. And again, there's not much of a waiting time for the young people to access the services. We work in partnership, collaboration with all different mental health organisations, and CAMS, for example, they signpost a lot to us as well. But yeah, during kind of when the schools were closed, we were really busy. We had to get more staff to work during the day because we were just really busy. Where now things have gone back to normal.
Imagine that, yeah. I can imagine that the days when children weren't at school and stuff, I can imagine that was probably the time they needed you guys the most. That they'd normally been doing their school day, and then obviously they're at home. Some parents might have left them at home for the day if they've had to go out to still do their job, or the parents are working at home. So I'm guessing that daytime provision for when children weren't at school, I'm guessing that you'll have really seen that uptake, and I presume that's when children really needed you guys the most.
Yeah. So what I found was quite useful was I was doing a lot of, and I've literally just before I jumped on this, I was doing another one. Looking at parent and carers, so looking at parent carer forums, working with specific parent carer forums, doing like before I was just jumping on it was like a coffee morning where I was just again promoting the service to parent carers. And because what you will find is a lot of parent carers were at home with the young people potentially, and the young people were finding things difficult, and the parents just didn't know what to do, where to signpost them over. So again, having that knowledge of Kooth was really beneficial to be able to just literally like it's signposted. So literally like Kooth.com, head over to Kooth.com, sign up, and that's it. So it's really simple as that. For professionals, for anyone who's working with young people who are aged 11 to 18, again, there's no referral forms, there's no loads of paperwork. It's really straightforward to do. It couldn't be easier. Kooth.com. So
no, definitely. I can imagine it's just that process itself is just the easier. I think the easier which you can get things for especially children to be able to get this support, I think the better. If they've got to fill loads of forms in, if a parent's got to sign a form, and I don't know for definite. I'm guessing these children don't need parental consent to talk to you guys. How does that work? Do they need to get a parent?
No, they wouldn't need parental consent to access our service. With the younger ones, though, again, they would speak more to our online team again around Gillett competencies and things. But yeah, they wouldn't need consent from the adult, the parent or guardian.
Oh, brilliant. One thing that you mentioned to me previous that we can just shuffle on to before we start the recording, you mentioned about Qwell. Do you want to tell people what Qwell is? Because that's something that I'd never heard of that, so it could be something that people might be interested in.
Yeah, so Qwell is basically our adult service, but it's available for teachers. So that's primary school, secondary school, for FE staff, for anybody who works in a schools system. Again, primary, secondary, and it's a very similar model of care to the Kooth, but it's just for teachers. I'm involved in it, so I'm quite proud as well, because I've got a lot of friends who are teachers who work in this area who are teachers and stuff. And again, the website's qwell.io. Tonight, well, I don't know when this is. Did you say it's going out on?
It's got on Monday. So we're doing this on the Thursday. So this will go out on Monday. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. But as I said, I mentioned to you before that we're trying to do a mental health mini series. And as soon as I heard about you guys, I wanted to get you on and just have a chat with you. So it's all fitting perfectly, really.
Yeah, so I do. So we can do presentations. I've actually got one tonight. So with it being Mental Health Awareness Week, I have got a a presentation for teaching staff, and I've got like over 20 people signed up, which is amazing. So, and again, if I do put any other ones out, I can send them to yourselves to promote as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think teachers have had I don't think teachers have had a rough time of it as well. So being able to have that support for them is really vital. Like I mentioned, I've got friends who are deputy principals who work in schools, who are support staff, and it's really nice to know that they've got that service. Again, it's funded by Cumbria, Northumberland, Tyne and Wear NHS Foundation, so the same commissioners, and yeah, really nice to know that they've got that support. Very similar model of care. It's totally anonymous. It's Qwell.io, so it's a little bit different. And the reason why it's Qwell.io is because .co.uk and .com were already taken, so we've gone for, because everyone's like, oh, it's a bit of a strange one, but yeah, it's really safe and just a different website.
Oh, brilliant. I think it's great. As I say, I think teachers, I've got a few friends that are teachers, and I don't envy the work they've had to do this past year. And then a lot of teaching staff have been given a lot of stick in the media for feeling vulnerable, for feeling uneasy about going back to work. And I just think that the year they've had, I know children have had it tough, but teachers, I think they're a frontline staff member for me.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I could talk about this one for a long time, but I won't. But they should have been having they should have been given the vaccine. They couldn't contact a class of 30 children. They're all come from different houses, and I know they're all in the bubble. I know the bubbles are great. I've seen them. I've worked in them. The bubbles are fantastic. But these teachers, if they're going from class to class to class, potentially in some schools, if they're not, depends on how the bubbles are working. I just think they should have been given the extra support. I really do. And I think, if they've got this free service they can get help from and support from, absolutely. I hope the staff have been using it, and if they don't know about it, I hope they get to know about it, and I hope they do get to use the support, because I can only imagine how difficult it's been for teachers.
Yeah, no, I echo and 100% agree with absolutely everything you've mentioned there, and I think, like you say, the numbers that they're dealing with, and yeah, I agree that they should have been like one of the first in the line for the vaccine as well, and yeah, it's only been live since December, so it's a fairly new service for Qwell, so it's quite new. So again, I think the hardest part for my role is, promoting the service and getting it out there. And the numbers are increasing slowly, but again, just trying to get the word out there as much as possible, and just trying people, because if you're going to access, so you can get counselling on our service or chat to our online team, if you're going to do that yourself, it will cost you 50 quid, potentially to speak to get that similar thing. And the fact it's free as well is an absolute no-brainer. Definitely, I would encourage people to utilize it. And again, another analogy that I heard, and it's really nice, and again, there might be stigma around mental health, but if you wanted to take care of your physical health, you go to the gym, you'd use a personal trainer to help improve you probably don't need to, but I would get a personal trainer to help me, help encourage me, help teach me how to go to the gym properly. And it's very similar with mental health, and I think a counsellor is that personal trainer for your mental well-being, for your mental health as well. So really nice analogy, and just if you did want to speak to someone, there shouldn't be no shame and stigma around it, and it's a lot more common people accessing our service for the chat facilities.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday on the way to a school, and the guy who hosts the podcast literally said exactly the same thing. People pay hundreds of pounds a month to a personal trainer, to help them look good, to help them feel better about their physical health. But often the case that's totally overlooked is mental health. And but obviously you do that for free. People don't have to pay for your service. So if people don't want to have to pay the extra money, teachers, colleges, primary schools, reach out to you guys. You're there for free.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? If you're struggling, as we've said, people struggle to talk, adults, children. Some people really do struggle to talk, and I think if you've got a service out there for the children, for teachers, and it's, as I say, it's totally free of charge. I'm not surprised that your stats have spiked this year. I'm really, really not, and I hope that Qwell, I hope it really does take off, and I feel like it will. When people find out about it, people need to start hearing about these things, and the more people hear about it, the more people get it, promoted into schools, into FE settings, the better. It's fantastic.
I think as well as once you've got, like, with this podcast, once people hear about it, and you, like you mentioned, you've never heard of Kooth before, but then now you've seen it at the schools and things, and it's that same, now you've heard about it, you'll see us everywhere. You'll see.
I said it to you before when we started talking. I was walking down a corridor on the schools I work in, and I was just popping down a corridor. I looked on the left hand side, and there was Kooth. And to be honest, if I hadn't have been contacting yourself about this, I'd have probably looked at it and gone, "What on earth's Kooth?" But as soon as people know about it, I'm sure that I'll be walking to schools and I'll be like, "Oh, there's Kooth again. There's Kooth again." And I just think it's fantastic. And as I say, maybe a little bit naive. I'd never heard of it, but I haven't got children at that age. I'm not based in a school as much, but I just think it's such a great service that you're offering.
Yeah. And again, it's something that I'm really keen. I mentioned the Durham FA, but I think I'm really keen to look at, coaches and other in all sports, because they've got that relationship with the young person as well. And, again, in a school, the young person might not have that relationship with the teacher, but the sports coaches, they'll listen to them 100% as well.
Absolutely.
So it's really, and again, it's a completely different setting, but it's really something that I'm keen to look at other avenues as well. How we can promote the service. And as you can probably tell, I'm really passionate about young people.
I don't blame you. You're passionate about something that's not just a good service. It's going to help people, and ultimately, why wouldn't you promote a service that you're a firm believer in yourself, but you can also see the benefits and the positive strides it can have in someone's life. You guys could play such a crucial role in a child's life, in a teacher's life. So why wouldn't you promote it? Why wouldn't you be passionate talking about it?
Exactly. Couldn't have summed it up better myself. Yeah, definitely. No. And again, like we said, having these conversations, I know you did a podcast on mental health with Matt as well, and that was really really great. And what I liked about that is obviously Matt's background for boxing as well, so I'm going to be pinching his email address and seeing if I could do a couple of
I'll share that with you, don't worry. I'm sure Matt will be more than happy to come and talk, and he'll be more than happy to support, because he's similar to you. He's a keen advocate of talking about the issues people have and trying to help people. And the more people like you guys in the world, the better.
Yeah, definitely.
So just before you go, I know you've mentioned both websites before, but tell us again, how can people contact Kooth and how can people contact Qwell?
Yeah, so really simple, really straightforward. Just head over to Kooth.com for the young person service, or Qwell.io as well. We're not an app, so you won't find us on the App Store. Again, that's just for safeguarding purposes. But really, really straightforward, and it's available on any internet-enabled device. So what we're finding, a lot of young people, will access it on their smartphones and tablets and things. So really, really straightforward. And there's all different support on there. Like I mentioned, there's a magazine articles, there's a discussion boards. For Kooth, we've got young persons activities where they've got loads of different wellbeing activities. So it could be, create a good mood playlist, write a letter to your future self. So there's loads of really good wellbeing activities. And to be honest, I pinch a few, and I do a lot myself. Again, listen to music to help improve my wellbeing. And there's loads of different things on there. And again, with Qwell, we've got the discussion boards. They can have chat, they can speak to our online team. We've got the magazine articles, again, specific content tailored around teachers and teaching staff as well. So there's loads of things on there. So check it out. Head over Qwell.io or Kooth.com.
What I'll do is, when these go out, I'll put these in the show notes. So if people just want an extra way to find it, then I'll pop it onto all our channels. So it'll go out onto our YouTube channel. It'll go out onto our, when it goes out onto like the Spotify apps and all that, they can just click on the links there and that'll take them directly to it, which is amazing. So last thing from me is just to thank you for your time. It's been fantastic catching up with you. Just find more about Kooth, about Qwell, and I just hope that this can get a few more people interested and a few more people to come across to your site.
Yeah, but no, thank you for having me. I am a fan. I've been watching a couple of your podcasts as well. And I love podcasts, so it's really, really great. Not a great honor. It's really nice to be. It is an honor to be involved.
No, brilliant. As I said, thanks so much, and I'm sure the people that use your services are just so grateful for the support you guys can offer. So thanks very much.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers. That was a great conversation, Andrew. I felt it was incredible listening to him talking around how Kooth has had such an impact, especially around this past year of lockdown, about how children can gain insight and access to the service, around Qwell, around how that's impacting teachers' lives. And I just think it's something that people need to know more about. So I will include the links to Kooth and to Qwell on the show notes. So I hope people do take them up on the free services they offer. You know, it's children 11 to 18, it's teachers, it's a free service. And I think it's something that really needs more people to be taking part in taking them up on their services. So hope you enjoyed the episode. This was episode 2 of the mini series on mental health, and fingers crossed we're going to have at least 1, maybe 2 more episodes discussing mental health in various ways and various topics. So thanks a lot for watching or for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode.